Welcome to Before 30. This is Auntie Janine.
And nephew Trey is in the building. How you doing, Auntie?
I'm doing good, doing good.
It's
It's so good.
2022.
I know, it's so good to be back. We can never do evergreen shows because Nephew Trey always shouting out the day and the year and the weather.
Oh
So
yes, it is what it is. It's
it is what it is.
2022.
Yes. And I'm glad to be here. And I'm so glad you're here with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so
I missed you
we,
over the holidays.
yeah, we've taken a break. Life,
Yeah.
great, good things in life have happened.
No, you
There's
got
good things in
married
life.
again.
I
Y'all, Trey done
did.
got married again.
I got
Don't ask
married
about
again.
what happened to that wife from the first marriage.
I
Don't
cannot.
ask. Don't.
It's so funny you say that because speaking of that, my grandmother-in-law in her speech at our wedding said to Shauna, she said, "You are a very lucky woman. You get to marry the same man twice within a year." And I was like, you know what? That is so dope. I actually got to marry my wife the same time, or I got to marry my wife twice within a year. So
Twice within a
that
year.
was
And
great.
yeah. And that time with fanfare.
Yes. Oh my God, it was so much fun. More. I might go to my Instagram. I'm gonna drop something on the nephew Trey Instagram so y'all can see some photos. So we
Yeah.
had an amazing time.
Oh, I should add my holiday photo. I didn't get to go to the wedding, but I was in Houston with the other side of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hot, and them folks were not wearing masks. So I think the pandemic might be over
Yeah, for the
in
holidays, it
Texas.
was definitely over for the holidays.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're reaping all
yes,
the things related to it. So I had COVID.
I had something, and I
You
gave
didn't
it to
get tested.
Shauna. I did.
Yeah.
I had a COVID test, a negative
Oh,
COVID
that's
test,
right.
and a negative flu test, and I didn't have a cough. So that's the one thing that makes me think I didn't have COVID. But you never know these days.
You never
Like
know.
who knows? So, but I was down for 3 days.
Yeah, some people have no symptoms.
Yeah.
But while we are chatting it up, we have a little surprise for our audience, for the family. We are so happy. We believe in families growing,
Absolutely.
and all of you are part of our extended family and the Before 30 family. But we have a new family member I'm bringing on to the show. We're going to add a new personality, and we want you all to welcome cousin Ashley to the family.
Woo, woo,
Hey.
woo.
Woo woo. I'm so happy to be here. Hello,
What's up? What's up?
430 family.
Now, do you say cousin? How y'all refer to y'all cousins?
We just call them by name in
Uh,
my family. But for purposes of the show, we can just say Cousin Ashley.
cousin, got you. Where
Like
I'm
Cousin
from,
Skeeter.
it's funny. So where I'm from, we like do the cool way, like cuh, like cuh, like what
What's
up,
the
cuh?
cuz?
What up,
Yeah.
cuh?
That's how the men in my family do it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
refer to me as cuz.
what up, cuh?
But we are happy. I'm so happy to have one of my favorite nieces
I'm so
Yes,
to
happy to
join
be here.
us. And Ashley is our pulse on the Before 30, y'all, Before 30 folks, and letting us make sure she gonna keep us
she the
honest.
plug.
She is the plug,
Yes.
right?
Beat
Now,
me up.
And we want to make sure that y'all spell Ashley right when y'all shout her out. And when you go looking for her, she will have a cousin Ashley profile or Ashley Williams, but it is Ashley, ASHLEIGH.
right.
So don't get it confused with them other Ashleys.
So that's wait. So is that Ashley or like Ashley?
It's Ashley.
Okay,
Ashley.
okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Say it right.
Period.
Or it's Miss
Right.
Williams if you're nasty.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
I can't. I can't.
Uh-oh. We love it.
Right.
So the Before 30 family has grown. You got me, Auntie Janine.
Nephew Trey.
And Cousin Ashley.
So we are happy to be here with y'all today. So what are we getting into today? Because I got questions about all the things that have been happening in the world and in the life of people before 30. Because I want to know what y'all up to. What y'all been doing? Ashley, what they been doing out here?
Trying to figure it out. Honestly, I was
Right.
talking to a friend trying to describe what the Before 30 journey has been. And I think there are a few things. One, just trying to figure out how to be an adult after being a student your whole life. but there's always, it feels like our age group is always experiencing something catastrophic, like, or life altering or very new. And so while most of our parents have prepared us to be adults, like my friends feel like we were prepared to do what we were supposed to do in society, but there's so much new and the world is changing so fast that we're experiencing things a lot of our parents didn't experience or experienced in a different way. So I think everybody's exhausted because life is a lot, and then learning who you are and learning relationships and what do you want your career to look like. I think we're all exhausted and we think this is ghetto.
You know, you know what? It's so funny you say that, Ashley, because I used to hear my parents say that. Every generation talks about their struggles, and that's definitely very valid. But it's funny because I have a sister-in-law who's 16, and I always think about like the world she's experiencing, and what you kind of reference to, I think about this generation, what y'all have like had to deal with. So like, just for my generation, when I was in school, it was like 9/11 was like the big world changing thing that was kind of happening, from an American standpoint. But I'm thinking about what's happening like the last, maybe even just 5 years. So 5 to 7, like, so mass shootings, Black Lives
insurrection.
Matter, right? Insurrection, Black Lives Matter. You've got like Me Too. You've got now the pandemic. And I'm like,
police shootings that are covered on your phone. Like you can literally watch them on loop.
I'm like, in the last 5 years or so, like it's been popping, like stuff has been happening. And to your point, how do you navigate this as a young adult, someone who is coming from, childhood and into adulthood? How do you navigate society and all this stuff? So,
and a lot of you have made a choice to live your lives so publicly, right?
This is true.
So even if it's in snapshots, right? They are just snapshots of time. Not only, and I say live your life, like you might not be doing stories, you might not be doing reels, you might not be posting every single day, but you're watching others who do. So kind of that seeing what you do see, no matter if it's filtered or not, those, it's those things. But I think, like I always tell y'all, be in the moment, be now, be present with some plans, of course, but don't be trying to figure out the next 5 to 10 years. That causes too much stress. Those of us who walk the path didn't need it that way. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I think my biggest question for your generation and others, I guess people even under the age of 40, what are you working these days with all this conversation about the Great Resignation? I was like, what is that? And if people resigning, where they going?
I'm telling you,
there are lots and lots and lots of jobs out here.
I see everywhere I go, it don't matter what company, we see a help wanted, now hiring sign everywhere I'm going.
Oh, the Fridays, the TGIF Fridays over here by me. I don't even know if they still call it TGIF, but Fridays over here by me they were giving out $1,000 signing bonus.
What?
For people to come work in the restaurant. So there are jobs. Taco Bell's paying $15 an hour.
What?
Yes. So where are people going? What is this Great Resignation, Cousin Ashley?
We hear about it a lot. So I feel like it's, the job market, like we said, I guess it must be popping. There's a lot of supply, no demand. So, I'm looking at the articles. So I've been looking at articles, just reading what's going on, what's happening. And it seems like there is a huge, huge shortage.
But is there a shortage? So there's a shortage in people willing to work, able to work, or skilled to work?
I think it's willing. So the Great Resignation is this new term that came about during the pandemic when a ton of people were leaving their jobs. We saw a lot of women were leaving because their kids weren't able to go to school, so somebody had to go to school. Other people were getting sick and not getting paid time off. So there was a variety of reasons why people were leaving their jobs in pandemic. And I think the other piece is, for some jobs, I'm risking my life to come work every day, or I can quit and get way more money in subsidies and some type of governmental support than I would working this job that's putting my life at risk. And I think there's another group of people who's like, I'm spending a lot of time every day doing something I'm not extremely passionate about that doesn't fulfill me. I don't get much out of it other than a check. So would it be worth my time to explore something more purposeful and fulfilling that I can get out of it? So I think there's a variety of reasons why people are leaving the workforce in droves, like looking for more fulfilling roles and purposeful things to do with your time every day. Like, I feel like we have been living to work as a society. Like, people live to go to work, and now people are wanting to work to be able to live. So how do we shift the culture to that? And I think that is what's fueling the Great Resignation.
Yeah, and I think we're going to end up seeing more people leave the workforce because companies like yesterday I was watching the news and Citibank announced that if you're going to work there, you must be vaccinated, and they're giving them until the end of the month. If you are not, if you cannot submit that you are fully vaccinated by January 31st, you are no longer, you'll be terminated from Citibank, Citigroup, one of the largest banks in the country. So I think we're going to have more people leaving the workforce for just over the fact that they don't want to be vaccinated, or either they don't want to work for a company that mandates it.
Yeah. And along that line, I think of employer mandates and how they've adapted to the whole pandemic is, I know a lot of people, some companies are now requiring you to go back into office. And to your point, we don't know the status of, your other employees, or companies are still trying to figure it out. And it's like, how can you mandate I'd be back in the office and you don't even have protocol and things figured out? And some people are just now more comfortable and they want to work remote, or they feel like they should be in a position where their company, they've worked for this company for multiple years. They've shown them that, hey, I can work remote, I'm responsible. And now you tell me I have to come back in the office. So I know a lot of people are resigning because of that. And people in my group, they're looking for strictly remote work.
Most people are. A lot of people are looking for 100% remote organizations, so they're willing to leave their current company, even if they enjoy the work. But then we're walking back into approaching the third year of this global health pandemic. In 2 months, it'll be March again, right? And not only, are we about to do that again, companies are already, that were supposed to be back in the office this month, are pushing it back again. So I think this is our new normal, this hybrid sort of workforce. There are a lot of people who do want to leave their homes and go into an office. I got several clients who I talk to pretty much weekly who said, look, I thought I was going back in the office. Now they have a new restricted access. So only this level can come in the office now, like these level of executives and things like that. So, but I did a poll on LinkedIn. So you guys, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So I want y'all to
make sure to go follow Auntie.
Right.
Yes, please follow me on LinkedIn. So I did a poll. I said, help me understand. I would love to hear your opinions on the Great Resignation. Where the heck is everyone going? I need to know. And so my poll was these 4 questions. I took a job with higher salary. I'm living off my savings. I'm starting a new business. I haven't resigned because I love it here. 158 people surveyed.
I don't even know the results. I'm ready.
You ready? So of 158 people who voted so far, the poll does not end until tomorrow. 46% of those people, let's do the math. Ashley, help us with this math. 46% of the people of 158 that voted said that they took a job with higher salary. Higher salary. So there are people who the resignation does not necessarily mean 46%. They left for opportunity. Thank you, cousin. And thank you, nephew Trey.
Yeah. It's I guess like goes back to what I was saying, all of these now hiring signs and all these job postings. When somebody leaves, that work got to get done. So I guess there's a job opening, and depending on the industry, the company, some of these people really need, and maybe there's just a lot of opportunities to get your bag.
But there are, because you can go out to LinkedIn Jobs and see there are thousands.
Yeah.
Like I think right now, the most job postings I've ever seen in
Yes.
LinkedIn. And I have clients, it's like we got 35 requisitions open in one department, like in their audit practice. That's a lot. And that was before busy season.
And I think, so to that point, where people are going, I think Trey mentioned this yesterday, and I saw it in the article, is, okay, now let's call it the great reshuffle. So yes, people are resigning, but they're also just shuffling around to different places.
Yeah.
What was
And
the
there's a
second
lot of
highest?
industry jobs. So the
I
second
wanna know.
highest is 43%.
Ooh,
And
close.
those people says, I haven't resigned because I love it here. So we got folks who like their roles, they like the companies they work for. Probably working remotely has enhanced some of that relationship. Maybe, never,
So
depending on
roughly
how they leverage it.
90% are saying, according to that poll, hey, I'm gonna go get my bag somewhere else. They probably didn't like where they were, or you like where you are. But
Somebody
then too,
came along, because I got a friend was at one company and he went to another industry, and it was the bag that took him. Like,
but I heard they've been paying these retention bonuses
they've been
too.
paying. Yeah, you mentioned that. So
Yeah.
what's a retention bonus?
So retention, I've heard the retention bonus is pretty much something your employer will give you to stay for a certain amount of time. Or if you stay a certain amount of time, they'll give it to you. Sometimes that's talked beforehand or not, or negotiated. But I know peers that are like 5-figure retention bonuses that are like, yes, stay through busy season, stay through this, and we'll give you
So like
$10,000.
$10,000.
$10,000. And I'm like, dog, like, I guess that is one way to try to, I don't know if it's showing that I value you or I need you, but whatever. So you can I guess you can get the bag either way. So those people that are saying they're happy, maybe they're getting the bag, where they are. And then there's other people that are like, hey, I got to go get the bag somewhere else because it ain't here.
So someone wrote in my post, and I didn't get a chance to verify this, but she said that there are 4.5 million roles that were vacated in by November 2021. So like, what are employers going to do? Or do we even care? Well, I'm an employer, so I kind of care.
I care. And it's actually funny you say that from an employer standpoint, because even with my photography business, I just went through my business owner. We got 5 people. Like we need, there's 5 jobs we need. Some interns, some contractors, some full time. And so the work is there, but it's like, how do you find the people? And it's a competitive market for employers, because I'm competing with the next employer that is offering a certain set of benefits and experience. So it's tough out there for employers.
And I think they care. I just don't think they know how to handle this situation since it's so new. Like my partner called and I thought he was about to get on me for not doing something. He was like, I honestly don't care. I just want to make sure you're not leaving. So here's your comp increase to market. And I was like, oh, okay. But I also think like, where was I going with it? Oh, here it is. So the cost to get a new employee costs 2 times the salary of someone current. So like they don't want you to leave. Like they want you to get you to stay because it's so much more expensive to onboard someone new. But how do we keep our people when now people like, no, I don't have to sit here and stay through this. Like I can go somewhere else and make more instantly just by leaving, not because I'm more qualified or anything else. So,
and just in general, I don't know, Auntie Janine, you may know the stats, but people who change their careers, like they make more over time, like by changing jobs and
by changing employers.
Yeah, by changing employers. And so I've seen, my new rule of thumb now is my mom is from the generation, was a teacher, government job, pension. You stay at your job for 30 years. She couldn't imagine me changing jobs, let alone being an entrepreneur. But now I look at people's resumes. I'm like, as long as you were there a year, like, that shows that you were there, you gave it, and you really reevaluate the employer-employee relationship. It's like, when you're an employee, sometimes you're like, I'm indispensable. They can get rid of me, I'm dispensable. They can get rid of me for performance because of, budget reasons, right? Cutbacks, anything. And so I think in all of this, that mentality and that hey, as an employee, I have to protect, what I want and go after what I want. That's a part of this, I think, new environment as well.
This is what I say. These
Ooh.
accountants ain't loyal. These scientists ain't loyal. These teachers ain't loyal. These engineers ain't loyal, right? So, I'm gonna coin a phrase from, the wise philosopher.
I
Y'all
can't.
ain't loyal.
Should we be
But
though?
what's the definition of
Should
loyal?
we be
though?
loyal?
How you do exactly? Now we have that. How do you define loyal? What's loyal? Because that employment contract you gave me that said I am.
Most people don't even have an employment contract. That's what's interesting.
Or they don't read it.
Or they don't read it.
Right, they don't read it. Yeah, it said this is at will. Do y'all know what at will employment means? Right. So once I went,
the will of the people have spoken.
Right.
So you out of here. You fired. Well, I don't know how many people are being fired these days because, like you said, there are so many vacancies. I mean, we were at the hospital a couple of days ago, and I was talking to one of the young ladies as we were going for a test, and she said, she's like, yeah, like we have shortages, we're short staffed right now from a combination of things, right? People have left, they don't want to work under these conditions, or they're out ill because they contracted COVID from someone here in the hospital, right? So that's the other reason, people are leaving.
Speaking about that kind of, I guess, the impact of COVID on the workforce. Did y'all hear about all those flights that were canceled for the holidays?
Yes, that's because people were calling out sick with COVID.
Yes, I was like, that was crazy.
Yeah, they said, typically Hartsville, we're so fortunate to all live in Atlanta, one of the most, the best, most efficient airport, especially now that they got that new clear pre-check area off to the side.
It's not that fast though.
I'm not excited about that. Give it back to Delta.
No, so I love that side. I go over there, I got pre-check and clear. Anyway, I digress.
It's not that fast. I'm gonna beat Shauna through the regular pre-check line a few times. She done went over to that clear line, but
it depends on who's working it. But I will say this: they were saying, even people were reporting on the news just live, like this airport typically operates so efficiently. She's like, it's crazy because there's nobody here to work. Nobody here to work. So, I think this whole grant, so let me go through the rest of the survey. So it looks like less combined, 11% of the people that I survey says they're living off their savings. So that was a small percent, 3%. And then 8% of those people said they're starting a new business. And so I think there are a lot of people who are saying, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm coming out here and I'm going to do this thing that I've been laying in the bed dreaming about. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go out here and do it. Now, I think that leads to a whole bunch of other things. Only a small percentage of those people are going to still be entrepreneurs 3 years from today. The other part is there's this, people think there's a blow up and an overnight glow up of financial freedom in entrepreneurship. And so, but I say go for it. If you can go for it and do it, it's still, because, there's always, from what we see right now, depending on your profession, there's always a job that's going to be hiring. So maybe that's the other place that people are going. They're going to go work for themselves.
Yeah. And there's a lot of opportunities. I think if you, depending on where your experience is, what your skill sets are, that industry may be in demand. So I know a lot of people who have a skill set, whether it's tax season, whether the construction business, your contractors, there's a lot of expertise. If you have a trade or something, it's in high demand in some industries. So you can get the bag all by yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, because of the time we're in and social media, people are exposed to so many different professions. Like, I grew up, you can be a doctor, lawyer, a teacher. Like, it was extremely limited. So I didn't look for much else. I just went for what I knew. But there's so many ways to make money, like so many ways. And I think people are saying, wait a minute, I don't have to stay here and do this. Like, let me explore what else is out there.
Yeah, you got a good saying. Like my friend Jennifer, she came up with the petty thing. If you ever seen these petty t-shirts, it says, I'm petty, he's petty. Those, like, she launched a whole business of t-shirts, and you get the right hook on a shirt, you're selling $2,000, $3,000 worth of t-shirts every month. So that's possible. And to your point, Ash, Cody says people are now making money off the internet, YouTube, OnlyFans, live streaming apps. Shoot, even Instagram, right? You can get awards and make money. So we have other ways to show your talents. And what's OnlyFans?
You never heard of OnlyFans?
No, what is OnlyFans?
Google
It's a content. It's a content subscription service, and the type of content is not limited.
So do you make?
I like that.
So do you make a percentage off of the subscriptions? The more people who subscribe to you?
Yes.
Oh, that's how you make your money.
I don't know. I didn't know there. I guess
so. You take your talents to OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And
it seems like a lot of people doing like really well. It's pop culture. I think it was popping during the pandemic. You hear about some overnight sensations with OnlyFans. So.
Well, as we wrap up this topic, because we do not want to go down a rabbit hole, because I'm a little concerned. If Nephew Trey told me to Google OnlyFans, I can only imagine what I would see. But what I do want to do is, as we kind of wrap up this great resignation topic, I don't think any of us have the real answers, right? And we're not here to give you answers, but we want to inspire you in some way. And so if you are thinking, you know what, I don't have to live like this. I hate this job, these people, and you're going to move into the great resignation. Ashley, cousin Ashley, nephew Trey, what are some of the things that people before 30 family should be thinking about when they're thinking about leaving their jobs or even pursuing a job? Like, if you're going to jump into this great resignation, how are you going to take care of yourselves? But what are some of the things that you should be thinking?
It's so funny. I actually love those 4 questions that you asked, because I think I'm a big proponent of having a plan when you make a decision or being intentional. And so it's like, okay, the great migration is this, or it's not the great migration, the great resignation.
It feels like a migration. They're moving from Amazon to Google to Facebook to Wells Fargo to
Twitter,
Target,
to TikTok, to Clubhouse,
exactly,
to Netflix. So when you're thinking about, what your next step is, being intentional, and what's your, what is it? And so I think when you kind of put out those 4 things, like, are you seeking another opportunity and is it financial driven? Or are you seeking another opportunity and it's not financial driven? Or do you really like it here, or some things need to change? So if you do like your job or where you currently are, having these conversations with yourself will force you to think about what do I need in order to stay happy here? And now you can have those conversations with your employer. But then if you decide, hey, like, I'm completely, done with the corporate America and whatever industry I'm in, and I want to do something completely different, you can then make plans and have those conversations of, do I want to start my own business, or do I just need some time to really disconnect and take some time off? And if you really want to take some time off, how do you live? How do you support yourself? What responsibilities do you have? So, I'm a big proponent of having a plan. And so I think asking yourself those hard questions so that you can plan for your next step is critical.
Yeah.
I would agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. I just say, just be realistic. Like, it's real cute to quit your job right now, but realistically, what does that mean for you? And like Trey said, just be intentional and make a plan about it.
Yeah. And if you're going to do any of those things, like Ashley just said, don't think you can do it and live off your credit cards.
Oh,
right? I think that's the mistake that people make, is we think, I got $10,000 in a credit card that I could use. You still got to pay that money back one day. Or you get plus interest, or you're going to end up in a situation where you're paying it back forever, or you might slip into bankruptcy. Now, bankruptcy is a restructuring plan, and that's a whole different conversation. However, it follows you for 7 to 10 years. Yes. And so it does not go away. People will remind you that you file bankruptcy when they don't give you something. Mm-hmm. So those sorts of things. And so, I think nephew Trey just said, what is the plan? Yes. And even if you do leave your job and you say, you know what, I got $10,000 of cash savings, I'm going to live off of that. I'm going to figure it out that way. Maybe you have to get a roommate, because the way rent is, oh my goodness, whole nother show too. Yes. I keep putting it off because we'll be talking forever. But so I like those suggestions, Trey and Ashley.
And I wanted one more, Auntie. I think lean into your network, lean into the people around you. I feel like these past couple of years have showed us like we can't do life alone. Like we need each other more than ever. And so tap into those people around you, those personal relationships, those professional relationships, and they may be able to provide some good insights into helping you guide your decision. Definitely make sure it's your decision and that you're at peace with it, but you can get some valuable advice and some wisdom from some people in your network.
So we want to thank you all for listening today to the Before 30 podcast. Just remember, you are a masterpiece
and a work in progress.